In this video, I'm going to be talking about why changing your mindset is key to successful entrepreneurs. If you want to get to a certain level in life, if you want to achieve financial freedom, you need to change your mindset. You won't get there by being a full-time employee. So in this video, I'm going to talk about these mindset changes, also giving you some tips on how to basically change that mindset, change your behavior, and come up with a new mindset, and new behaviors, and new ways of thinking that will help you be a better entrepreneur, be a better investor and business person, and basically achieve financial freedom or achieve your other goals. One of the important distinctions, obviously, when you become financially free or when you become an investor, is that the source of your income is no longer tied to the hours that you are working. This may sound like a trivial aspect of this, but it is very important. For some psychological reason, we feel very good about that connection, that we work and we get paid for our work, and then we can go on vacation, we still get paid, etc. And so that this kind of like this relationship where we feel that the company is protecting us, our employers are protecting us. This hasn't been the case for a very long time. 30 or 50 years ago, the employers were kind of taking better care of their employees. They had defined benefit pension plan, as I mentioned earlier. They had, and then employees were more loyal also to their employers. Now we're switching more and more towards a gig economy, where you can be working for a company for 6 months, and then you're going to be working for somebody else for another 6 months, or your job is going to be constantly changing. It's not as free-flowing, it's not as steady as it used to be. A lot of people in the previous generation, like the boomers and earlier, they would work 25 years for the same company, doing pretty much the same job for most of them. Some of them actually scaled up the ladder, but most of them did a very similar job that they had been doing. And eventually, after the 25 years, it didn't matter who you were, you would get like the gold watch. Well, this is not a gold watch that I got working full-time, obviously, but they would get a gold watch, they would get their Rolex, and they'd say, oh yeah, I've worked 25 years for that. So that was a very small gift also for everything else, all the sacrifice that they've done. Now, so this is kind of what happens when you're full-time. When you are an investor, when you are an entrepreneur, it's very different. Now you are in charge, you're in the control seat or the driver's seat, but then you have to make your equity, you have to make your cash work for you and provide the revenue. So you have to do the investment. You have a bigger sense of responsibility. If you're not making money, you have pretty much only yourself to blame for not making the income that you need. When you work full-time for an employer, it's very easy to blame the employer and say, oh, how come you're not giving me a raise? How come you're not giving me a promotion? When you're working as an investor, you are whoever you want to be. You can give yourself whatever title you want. The important things is that you have to do something. Your equity, your cash has to be working for you, and you're basically the boss of your cash, the boss of your equity. Let them work for you. The next thing is that you are in the driver's seat, so you have to make a decision. You can't just be sitting by and then assuming that things are going to happen. You have to drive your car, you have to drive your ship in the directions you want to do. So having a goal that is straight and that you defined, and that what I called in my book fiat goal, something that's going to help you focus, that's something that's going to be inspiring you to get up every morning and do the work that needs to be done. So this is something that's very important when you're in the driver's seat. So if things need to be done, you need to do them. You can't just wait for something to happen. When you work on a full-time job, you kind of wait for the marketing department to get something, or the sales department, or whatever. When you are the entrepreneur and the investor, you have to get things done. Doesn't mean you have to do it yourself, but you have to make sure that these things happen. So the biggest thing also is that over time, when you work full-time, it really narrows down the skills that you have. It expanded some of the skills that you have. And maybe if you went up the ladder, the corporate ladder, maybe you learn more about managing people and leading people. But there are other aspects that you have not, may not have experienced. And this is why I'm saying that all these skills that you had when you were full-time employees, they were good, they were beneficial. But when you're an investor, when you're an entrepreneur, these skills may not be sufficient in order for you to be successful. So it's important to know that. One of the main skills I think that's missing is just financial knowledge, being able to read a balance sheet, the financial P&L, being able to understand cash flow, your cash flow statement, but also how's your cash flowing from the balance sheet, to the P&L, etc. So really having a deep understanding of what's going on, and then coming up with metrics that are going to measure your business. So that's one aspect of it that's very important. Other aspects of it is also about the process, about managing people. Maybe you didn't do that when you were working full-time. Now you're going to have to do that. Having to deal with people, you may have to do with sales, you may have to do to manage other people that are not directly reporting to you. So these are all skills that you may not have experienced when you were a full-time employee, that now you have to develop when you are an investor and an entrepreneur. Another thing is a little bit more emotional, is that when you're working as an investor and entrepreneur, you're a lot more, some people are a little bit more nervous because now they feel like they don't have the guarantee of the paycheck. Well, some good news or bad news for some people is that there's no such thing as the guarantee of a paycheck. I mean, you just look at what happened during the pandemic and how many people, even with the payroll protection program, how many people just were let go because the companies, obviously they have to protect themselves, make sure that they stay alive, but there's not that sense of loyalty. They don't have to give you as an employee a salary just because you're a nice guy. So it has to have work. It's related to the work that you're doing and the value that you're providing to the company. So when you're an entrepreneur, when you're an investor, it's a little bit different because now you're responsible for your income, and that's also feel that you're a little bit less protected, even though that protection that you imagined as an employee was not there. It is still a little bit of a shift, a shift in mindset to kind of accept that, okay, well, this is, maybe the business is not going to do as well. Maybe we're going to be affected negatively and stuff like that. But again, you're in the driver's seat, so it's your job to kind of like work through that and make sure that you have the right, you make the right decision to prevent these kind of loss of income, and make sure that you have, that you steer your business correctly. And finally, the last one is a little bit of a variation of being in the driver's seat. One of the shift in mindset, I think, is when you're an employee, the company is going to grow, the company is going to expand, they're going to hire people, they're going to sell and stuff like that. And really, when you work in that company, I mean, yes, you are participating in that, but very few people can take responsibility and take ownership, and it says, hey, I made that happen. This is kind of like the shift in mindset, is that things happen kind of on their own without you having to really get things happening. So this is a little bit of a shift as well when you're working as an investor. This is probably the biggest shift, is that nothing is going to happen unless you make it happen. So this is something that's very important. You can't just wait on things to happen. You can't just wait for the phone to ring and bring you some salespeople. You have to go out there, reach out, and then find these people and network. So if you're the kind of person that kind of likes to sit back and then wait for things to happen. This is going to be a major shift that you're going to have to do. You have to go out there and you have to make things happen. And this is why basically one of the tools that I recommend is a daily practice. Physical activity is always good to get the brain going and get you focused, but then really sitting down every day or thinking every day by yourself 20 to 30 minutes about kind of like, what are my priorities today? What are the 3 things that I need to do today that's going to get me closer to my goal, or that's going to bring, you know, some extra revenue, that's going to bring me some extra sale, that's going to fix this or fix that. I hope this video was helpful to doing that, you learned something and that you're going to be more prepared when you actually are doing that shift from a full-time employee to an investor entrepreneur. I think it's important to know these skills. When you're an employee, you can still working at getting these skills, especially on the financial skills. Get to learn these skills so that when you are an entrepreneur and investor, then you're already familiar with that. So that's one aspect of it. Having the daily practice, I think, is a good tool. But just remember that what got you to this point as a full-time employee is not necessarily the same skill set and the same attitude and behavior that's going to get you to the next level. So be prepared for that mentally, for that shift in mindset. So if you like this video, don't forget to click the thumbs up. If we want this video to be shown to as many people as we can and then change some lives out there. Also, if you like anything that deals with entrepreneurship, investment, real estate investment, financial freedom, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and click that notification bell so that you are notified whenever a new video is being published. In the meantime, you can watch the rest of the videos that are on my channel and make sure you like them, click the thumbs up. Thank you.